Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Christy. Guess what time it is?
It's time for podcasting.
Podcast
What sort of
Thursday.
fuckery are we? Oh, it's not even a Thursday. It's Friday.
Oh my God. Rewind. Podcast Friday. I've lost all track of time. I have no idea. It's a long weekend. Doesn't that count?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still working today-ish, but my kids are out of school, and so if they pop in and make some interesting comments, I apologize. The nanny doesn't start till next week.
You're in that weird period where you're like, oh, yay, they're back from school.
Yeah, but it's also on the heels of May-Sember, which I don't know if you've heard of what May-Sember is. Yeah.
No.
So, you know how in December you have all the holiday parties and you have all of the like extra stuff for their sports teams and whatever?
Christmas concerts and all of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
The same thing happens now in May. So
year-end banquets, all that kind of
like more assemblies that I'm like, why are we meeting again? You know, last soccer practice, last this, like, so, and of course, everything's scheduled mostly during the workday. And you're like, oh, okay, I have to go to school yet again. And so all of the moms I know are like, we're surviving May-Sember. This is terrible.
May-Sember. Okay, I like this. May-Sember.
Yeah.
Hey, so that's true. I like it. Well, my daughter finished her first year of junior college Wednesday. There was nothing to it. I didn't have to do anything. It was just like, it's easy. It gets easier. Look at that.
We are so close in age, yet so it's very different life phases.
And I was by no stretch a young mother, but you did admit that you were geriatric pregnancies, I think, in episode 1. So,
well, I mean, I had one kid at 36 and the other one at 39. So, was I 36, Presley? Yeah, I guess I was. Hold on. Nope, 35. No, 36. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, geriatric pregnancies, be damned. I'm like, I'm a diesel, guys. We like breed for a living. There's like,
and I think I was only a couple years younger having my last one when you were having your first one.
So you got a pretty big head start on me.
I have a head start. I'll just let you. I just get to impart all the wisdom, and you get to like make me feel young again by listening to your horror stories about wetting the bed.
Or occasionally I'm asked to wipe an ass or two.
Can't remember the last time I got asked to. I'm in the phase closer to wiping my grandchild's ass than my own child's ass.
God.
I don't have any grandchildren. I'm not in a huge rush, but yeah, I can't remember the last time.
So when you become a grandma, is your name Grandma, or are you going to be like Lolly or Dolly or
I don't know. I had my mom is a nana. Andrew's mom is a grandma. My grandmother, one passed when my mom was a teenager, so I didn't know her, but my father's mom, Mickey, was nanny. And so I think I could be somewhere in Nan, maybe not Nana, because to me that sounds a bit old. Nanny I love, but there's only ever going to be one nanny, so I wouldn't try to co-opt that name from her. So maybe Nan, or on my Brady's girlfriend's family side, she has a Bubba and a Ditto.
That's cute.
It's so cute. And Bubby and Ditto. Bubby and Ditto. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's Macedonian. Sorry, Bella. But I'm like, ooh, also, first question, which one's the girl? And
that's what I was actually.
Ditto? I think I'm a Bubby. I think I'd be a Bubby, which I don't hate. I think that's sweet, but it's not my nationality, so I don't think I could steal that either. So the short answer now would be, I don't know. What do you want to be? I don't want to be a grandma. That sounds too old.
Hey, my 4th grader just got her first boyfriend. I don't even want to talk about being a grandma.
You're like, I don't want to jinx it. Let's not go there.
No. She's so cute. She comes home and she's like, hey, can I tell you something and not make you mad? And I'm like, I
the preamble. Yeah.
Can't promise anything, but my response to her was, Presley, you can tell me anything. And on her last day of 4th grade, this boy that has had a crush on her forever asked her to be his girlfriend. And I was like, and she was just like, I feel so weird. I mean, she was just like, it was so cute, like all the butterflies and stuff. And we celebrated and I got excited. And then I was like, okay, so, but you know, there's no touching. There are no touching. There is no touching. There is no spending alone time together. There is no hugging. There is no kissing. There is no, like, literally, you can
look at each other.
You can smile at him. And she's like, well, yeah. She's like, yeah, Mom, duh. And I was like, okay, cool. Just making sure that we're very clear on
And does
what
this boy live in striking distance, or does he need a driver to get to your daughter?
he's striking distance.
Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah, it's fine. You
You
know,
just have to have some eyeballs in the neighborhood, like all the neighbors that live on their potential routes.
I have a tracker on my kid. It's even
I
better.
know, but unless that tracker is a camera, you can't see where the boy's arms are.
Yeah, okay, like, let's not
Okay.
even get into
You're
that.
like, "Don't
She's
let's not even
10.
talk about that."
She's 10, she's going into 5th grade, and she's fine. I was like at first, I was like, "Oh, no." I was like, "No, this little fucker didn't." But the boy, not her. I'm like sitting there listening, and I'm smiling, and I'm thinking, "This little asshole," da, 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 which is terrible to think because he's just a
He
little
might be
boy.
lovely. He
I'm
might be
sure I'm
lovely.
sure he's lovely, but also, she's my daughter, so I'm like, "Okay, do we kill him? No, we don't have to do
Yeah,
that."
let's
And then I'm
see how
like, "Wait,
handy he
Christy,
is.
your first boyfriend was in 2nd grade."
First off, I can't even remember anything from 2nd grade.
His name was Steve Carlson, and he
I'm sure
always
Steve
liked
Carlson
me.
appreciates that you have named
Listen,
him.
if Steve Carlson is hearing this podcast, we have made it, Kelly.
And is this Steve Carlson in Kansas City, or where are we trying to
No,
find him?
Newark, Illinois, back from when I was a little kid. So Steve always liked me and he was real cute and stuff. And then it's funny, I was just like not interested. I don't know how you're interested in 2nd grade, anyways, whatever that
Yeah,
means.
whatever.
But he broke his leg and
Okay.
he came back to school. And there was just a part of me that was just like so like, I
You're
wanted
like,
to take
"Ooh,
care of
literal
him.
wound, a wounded duck. Let me help."
Exactly. Which would set me up for the next, many,
That's a
many.
prequel for the next 40
That's
years. Way to go,
exactly.
Steve Carlson. You fucked me up.
He was so sweet though. He was so sweet. Okay. And and thank God I had one in 2nd grade because, by 4th grade I was going to crazy cultish all girls nun school, not able to like wear skirts below the knees or, show anything more than 2 fingers below your collarbone. So, it was good because I got
You got it
that
out of your
early.
system early. I'm not gonna lie, when you started that story sentence with, "I'm glad I did it in grade 2, because by grade 4, I was going," and I thought you were gonna say, like, to second base or third. Like, cult was not what I was.
Kelly.
You went the opposite way. I
Kelly.
just I mean,
I mean, like quintessential good girl, okay? I'm like the
okay.
dream daughter in high school. Moving on from there.
Moving
Speaking of our
on.
bodies, what
No,
are we talking
speaking of
about today?
getting older, becoming a grandma, that's oh my god. Today we are talking about midlife plot twists. Nobody warned us about this. Like, we could also just title it "The Fuck Midlife Version." Let's start with the things that were not in the brochure when we were
Well,
in grade 2, Twitter pated by Steve Carlson and thinking to our 40s.
I can't believe I remember his name. I can actually remember exactly what he looks like. It's kind of scary. I can't remember what I did yesterday. I can remember 2nd grade.
But one can sure bet Kelly's gonna spend this afternoon tracking this boy down.
Oh Jesus, please don't, Kelly. Like, okay.
Anyway,
This is all stricken from the record. It needs to be blocked and not discussed anymore. Plot, man. Should we start with bodies, like the things that you
yeah,
weren't expecting to
like
happen with your body?
yeah, like what the hell is going on here?
Well, I had a whole. Sorry, I don't know. I was tickled. Let me see. I had a whole midlife body situation. I didn't realize. No one told me that like after you have children, there are some changes that could happen to like your menstrual cycle and like, oh, I don't know, suddenly you like have stress incontinence and you're running up a soccer field following your daughter like in her team because you just can't sit in one space and all of a sudden you pee yourself and you're like, wait a tick.
Wait just a minute.
Yeah, I'm like that this is terrible. So that and then also your period changes. And unfortunately for me, mine got much heavier.
Worse yeah.
Much, much worse. And so 2 weeks ago, I had a
You said post kid.
post
Not
kid. Did I say post? I could have said pre, but I meant
no,
post.
no, no, I was thinking perimenopause versus, but you're saying post kids.
Post
Totally
kids.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as I get closer to, so I'm 46 now, and in my 40s, which was right after I stopped having children. So for the
Blame it on the rain.
yeah, no, I didn't realize that like my everything would just be one jacked up mess and my cycle could go to 16 days. 16 days full cycle.
I think
That's a lot.
that's too much, especially if each one is like 4 or 5 days. I think though that you should have a certain number of periods in your bank when you're born. And so if you happen to have them every 16 days, guess what? You run out of them faster than the others. So unless you're trying to have kids and you run out of them, that would be problematic. But I mean, if you could just be like, the good news is you're not going to do this twice. You're just going to run out of them sooner.
Yeah, no, that was not my experience. So I had a hysterectomy and a bladder sling 2 weeks ago.
And for those of you who didn't listen last week, she was super compliant and the best patient
I
ever
was
in caring for herself
absolutely
after.
not. Speaking of offspring, hold please. Hey, 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 you need to go downstairs. Can I see what?
Funny about you. It's got your recording, but it's super funny.
Okay, I'll show it to you in a minute. Okay. No, honey, listen. Colton, close the door, please. Go find your sister. That's the phase of life I'm still in right now. It's my life. My 6-year-old with one dangling tooth in the front. He's lost. He's lost his one of his front teeth, and the other one is like, it's just hanging
Just
on. It's
hanging
like,
on for
it's
dear life.
crooked too. I'm just like, let me pull that thing. It's just like
He doesn't want to pull it. He doesn't want to pull
doesn't
it.
want me to touch it. Won't let me touch it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just pick my battles. But anywho, I don't even know what I was talking about before that just happened.
You
Brain
were
fog.
talking about.
Wait, what?
I was saying, let's also add brain fog. Squirrel.
Brain fog.
Brain fog
Squirrel.
is the menopausal version of squirrel, for those of you who cannot focus on one thing without being distracted by shiny objects.
Yeah, except for it also happens in perimenopause, which it's
Oh, no.
funny because we have like a lot of information on menopause, but perimenopause,
Well,
like
yeah,
there's a decade that no one wants to talk about where you're like, what is happening to me? And you go to
I
the
would
doc. Go
even.
ahead.
Sorry, I would argue that I don't know when we say a whole bunch of information on menopause, we mean post-menopause, right? Because menopause is
Correct.
actually one day. It is the day 366 that you haven't had a period. And then you're in post-menopause. Surprise! It's like a birthday that you never have again. And you're in perimenopause every minute until you hit the 12 months with no period.
Oh, look at that. I didn't know that. Look how smart you can be after your children can wipe their own asses.
When you have time to think, or you spend a couple years in women's sexual health, or you just listen to Mary Claire Haver because she's going to educate you on all this shit.
It's amazing.
Anyways, menopause, and actually, that is a good point. Mary Claire had a post the other day about menopause, the day, and that we should actually have parties like it's like a birthday or a retirement party for your uterus or something. You did it! Congratulations.
You made it.
You
You made
graduated.
it. Hey, Kelly, I'm sorry. Hang on one second.
Look at this.
Oh, great. Okay, hold on. Hold on. So Colton's watching all of the baby conversations that you've been sending. Okay. Things I have to fix immediately after this podcast.
Exactly. Settings on my phone I must adjust.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't need to be photo streamed on my photos and videos.
No, exactly.
He'll learn some new words.
That's how my son learned that girls do in fact have 3 holes.
You're kidding me.
Didn't I tell you this story? I even think I thought I podcasted it. Okay, I'll abridge the version.
I don't remember. I have brain fog.
When my boys were probably 9, on a drive home when I am trapped in the car, they decided to ask me a whole bunch of stuff about periods because that they had just learned in grade 4 about menstrual cycles. And so I was driving them home from something. It was about a 15-minute drive. And they're like, hey, Mom, thank God they're both in the back seat. So I didn't have to make eye contact with either one of them. They proceeded to ask me, like, when you have your period, do you just pee blood? And I'm like, no, it doesn't come out of that hole. Oh my God, does it come out of your bum? And I'm like, no, it doesn't come out of that hole either. And then my 2 boys were so quiet for a minute. And then I think it was Brady who goes, wait, girls have 3 holes? And that's when my stress incontinence came into play because I just about pissed my pants laughing. I didn't even know what to say. I got home, I told Andrew, he's like, what the fuck were you doing? You were just driving them. Fast forward, probably, oh gosh, 5 years. I have a drive to take Brady to his father's house. And so it's a great time for us to just chat and we listen to music, whatever. It turned out to be a great opportunity with your kid at an age when you don't get those opportunities. 14-year-old boy? Nah. Anyways, he had my phone because he was like going through music and running the music. And then he's looking at my pictures. In 2011, my colleague next to me at J&J covered the Gynecare portfolio, which is vaginal meshes and slings. So one of the things that he had was a real life-sized vagina model on his desk. And I had just taken a picture and posted it that, you've worked in medicine too long when a vagina facing you at 7:30 a.m. doesn't even fizz you, right? Because I'm like, oh, look, a vagina, click. So Brady, and he's like, what the hell is this? And I say, oh, it's a vagina model for surgeons to know how to, implant mesh and stuff. And so then he's quiet. He zoomed. And then he says, there's the third hole.
My God.
Died.
Died.
I don't know how we got here in this story, sharing your phone screen, but hey, at least I'm the mom that the boys are comfortable asking uncomfortable questions of. Like, honestly, I was way more uncomfortable answering than they were asking. That's the goal.
That's really important, though. I think that, it's funny because I was thinking as we were talking, I was like, we should put a disclaimer on this episode. Like, men, please, any of our male followers, which I don't think we have that many. I think we're like 90%.
If you're averse to hearing the word vagina or period.
But actually, you know what? Like, I think I might know more about men's health. I definitely know more about men's health than women's health. And so I'm like, I love that your boys come to you and have asked these questions because
I love that it's everywhere more prevalent than it was even for us. And that's not like that was a million years ago.
I mean, exponentially, I feel like.
Well, I will say, like, having a teenage daughter, when we were young, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, like, nobody was meant to know that you had your period. Even the girls. That's when they came out with those OB tampons. It didn't even have an applicator, so you could stick them in that tiny little pocket above your other pocket in your 5-pocket jeans, that little one. Although I think it was for change. I think it was for a quarter to be able to like call a ride home. But for us that used OBs, you could just stick that in there. Anyways, I digress. You hid the fact that you had a period, even from people who have periods.
Well, yeah, and if you're me, you have a period at 10 and you have no idea what it is, and you run out like to the bathroom screaming because I'm like, I'm dying. And my sister Angela actually was the one who explained at a very basic
or were you
level.
At home?
No, I was at home. It was during the summer, but I was 10. So I was young. I was very young.
Yeah, that is young.
So, but anyways, this happens to me and I'm like, holy shit. So she doesn't get into like sex and that type of discussion. And remember, I was raised very sheltered, very conservative. I don't think I even knew what sex was. Actually, I know the exact second I figured out what sex was, and I was in 8th grade, and I'm not even kidding. And it was from a joke. It was a glory hole joke that someone made. And I was like, wait a minute.
Is it because it had the word glory in it that you were like, ooh, it's religious?
Oh, no, I don't even want to tell the joke because it's just foul. Okay.
But it opened your eyes, literally and figuratively, to the world of sex.
Sure, I was like, I don't think, but this is also things that I never, God love my mom, but like I never wanted
Yeah,
Presley
we were talking to her about it.
Yeah, I mean, and she had like a baby every like other year, literally. She had a baby every, other year. So like
Catherine you think then arguably was an expert.
Or maybe she had no idea how it really worked.
Also possible. Mary Catherine, I know you're going to be listening to this.
She does. She listens to all our podcasts. It's really cute. Like when I was recovering from surgery, she was in my living room. Because of course she like sat on top of me, right? Like, just, do you need anything? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever. Writing down when I took my meds and, doing what Mary does. And I go in the living room and she's just giggling and she has hearing aids. And so she's got her hearing aids in and she's listening to, and she's on her iPad. And I'm like, what are you watching that you're laughing so hard? She's like, I'm watching your podcast. You're so funny. And I'm just like, Mom, that's so sweet. I was like, but you can just come talk to me in my room and like, you're going to get the same shit. And she's like,
yeah, I could give you the live unfiltered version.
I mean, this isn't really all that filtered. But then she's like, yeah, but your friend's really funny too. And so I was
Mary
like,
Catherine.
I know. And then she's like, do you guys script this out? I'm like, no, we actually just kind of show up and pick a topic and roll with it. She's like,
and then we try to
how do you? And we said, but which are totally not. We need to get back. So let's go ahead and we're going to put our blinker on and go
Yeah,
back to
so let's
topic.
go back to your bladder mesh and your hysterectomy or
Bless.
partial.
Partial.
So you're 10, 12 days to almost 2 weeks out.
I'm over 2 weeks. I'm
Oh, you're
almost
coming up
3
on 3?
weeks. Yeah.
Oh,
The first 2 weeks was awful. But again, I don't read about surgeries and things because I don't need the anxiety that comes with it. Kelly, I had back surgery at 26 and I had to sign a waiver that said I could be partially paralyzed and all these other things. And I literally was in a panic state forever. And it was awful. And I was so afraid. And ever since then, I'm like, you know what?
don't tell me anything. I don't want to hear it.
Well, like, I want to know if it's experimental, right? Like, I want to know, like, I find the right doctor, right? I do my research on the doctor. I go to multiple doctors about one thing to get several
Multiple
opinions. And then I pick the one that I think A, has the best reputation, and B, I liked in person that I would like, okay, it's like I'm in advertising, right? The people that my clients that I work with, do they need to know absolutely everything about advertising? No, I prefer them to know, this much so they don't know
Yeah.
very little. No, I'm just kidding.
You keep your
Know that
opinions
it
to
works.
yourself.
But so anyway, so I do my research on the experts that I use. And then I kind of take this leap of faith, right? Because I'm like, I can't handle all of the information and all of the legal stuff you have to put in there because 1% of the time it didn't work. Right.
Well, and you know that from being in advertising that you have to list this entire caution statement that's scarier than the disease or the condition you're trying to treat. Like, dear God, I'm not taking that. Slight tangent. When the volume of pharmaceutical ads in the US is like exponential to the number of cleaning product ads. And you don't have those in Canada. So as a Canadian here, like they stand out to me because I'm not used to seeing direct to patient advertising. And so my joke now is when we watch them, and I totally understand in the industry why you have to list all the possible side effects or adverse events. And it means even if they studied it in 50,000 people, if one person had it, they have to list it. So one dummy vomited, but he forgot to tell you he drank 14 Jaeger bombs. Like you still got to list it because you're on the drug. Anyways, so now we play this little joke when they play the commercial. Warning, may cause nausea, vomiting, changing of the color of your eyes, and blah, blah, blah. My joke is, what was the drug for again? Because, of course, they list this trade name that is like, nobody, who comes up with these names? Like, they don't, their kids probably worsely named than Elon Musk. But those ones, those commercials, I think are great. I'm like, what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, yeah, it was for a runny nose. And now,
Well, it's for a runny nose, might cause vaginal bleeding. I'm like, wait, what? But I
got a good news, bad news for you, Christy.
Okay,
Your
so
nose is going to stop running, but your vagina is in big trouble.
well, I have never worked on pharmaceuticals. I work in med device, which is completely different, right? Like you don't need, it's completely different. And you don't need all of the legal that you need on pharmaceuticals. But I do remember I used to work on Fiat and Chrysler. And
Yes. Zero warning. Get in and drive.
no,
Right
it's
foot
fun.
into the brake.
For whatever reason, Chrysler had their agencies work directly with the legal team versus having their internal people work with the legal team. Whatever. But I remember you always wanted to fight to have like less legal on things.
Yeah.
Because it's
No
like
offense.
if you're disclaiming everything, like what can we like is anything true?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
but you gotta let
Full
people know.
disclosure does not mean full disclosure. I like it when you can just get away with, for a complete list of adverse events, please see this website link or QR code. And then I can hide them behind a curtain where they belong.
I mean, that's the way of the future, I think, because I don't know that anyone even really listens to that stuff. Like, anyways, we're getting into marketing and advertising. Let's go
Yeah,
back
how did we
to
get from back to the bladder mesh?
back to no, it's what
So
yeah, no.
almost
So
3 weeks. So you had babies and everything was normal, 28-day whatever. Then magically you were 16 days and now look at you in your 40s and everything's getting hoovered up and held up like Atlas.
Everything's gonna be great. The first 2 weeks were hell. I'm not gonna lie. They sucked. But,
Yeah.
the end of the first 2 weeks, like, I feel great. I feel fine. I mean, I'm still restricted of what I can do. Like, can't lift more than 10 pounds and like, stuff like that I'm like, I don't even know what
Yeah.
10 pounds feels like.
A
Oh,
sack of
I'm pretty sure my son is not 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Did you see me lift him on my lap earlier?
I
Sure.
did actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah, so I gotta stop doing all that. Yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, everyone's like, I'm like, hey, this is gonna be a whole new life for me, and I'm pumped about it.
I think,
So
well, I think it'll be way better if that's going to help with the 16 days because nobody has time for that. That's crazy.
yeah, that was
But
terrible.
it was a pretty fast
I
switch.
was nuts all the time. I was like, I was either having a period or about to have one, and my hormones,
I was I
like,
was thinking the logistics of having a period or traveling and always having a period, but yeah, oh my god, I totally forgot about the roller coaster
yeah,
you'd be
where like you're
on.
crying, like something happens, and all of a sudden you're like a mess about it, and life is ending, and all of these things, and it's not like I always hate when people are like, "Oh, you're irrational because da da da." I'm like, well, first of all, no one's rational.
I got to start. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just to exemplify the different phase of life that we are in, my retired husband brought me a Starbucks very quietly through the door. Go on.
And my kids keep just popping in with like nonsense. There's your nonsense, mom. We won't talk to you when you're not on a call, but the second you get on, do something where you actually have to pay attention, they're like right up here. They're like, hey, let's talk. I have these feelings that I want to talk about.
Yeah, you
And
never talk to me, Mom. Why are you ignoring me, Mom? You always podcast. You never.
I mean, because I always podcast, Kelly. That's what I
Always
know.
on one day of the week. Anyways, well, you were getting into a good segment number 2 is the thing that we didn't know. These emotional like roller coasters and brain fog and like you almost don't recognize yourself. You're like, who is this person?
So why can't I remember anything? My anxiety is way worse, right? Because I can't
Yeah.
remember anything. So I'm like, did
Yes.
I do that? I'm like, I have
Is this
no
dementia? Oh
idea.
my god, I have early onset dementia. Listen, here, let me tell you, like, okay, I'm gonna make a movie reference. Brace yourself.
Okay, I'm waiting for it. Talk to me, Goose. What's happening? That's a movie reference, by the way. Talk to me, Goose.
I know that one's Top Gun.
Good job.
Woohoo! 10-Second Tom. Do you know him? 10-Second Tom from 51st.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he forgets. Hi, I'm Tom. Yeah, hi, I'm Tom. That 10-Second Tom happened to me yesterday in the shower. I, for the life of me, couldn't remember if I had conditioned my hair or not. There's literally only like 3 things you're doing in the shower. How? Well, that's a different episode. But I was just like, huh, did I? And I'm feeling my hair like, how soft does it feel? It's a conversation I'm having with myself out loud in the shower. I put conditioner on and I rinsed it out. And I'm like, oh no, I definitely didn't have any in before. What the fuck happened?
Okay, I have those moments a lot around medication. So I have had to get, my mom has been telling me to do this forever, like get those little like
Monday, Tuesday,
containers.
Wednesdays?
Yeah, yeah. And I fought it because I'm like,
Yeah,
listen, along
I'm
with
not 80.
readers,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
46.
80 years old.
Don't. And I take like very little, right? But the other day I was like, fuck. I cannot did I take this? I don't know. Da, da, da. Again, I'm trying to like get children ready and all those things, and I had no idea if I took it or not.
You're
So
like,
I
Mary, get out
counted, I
there.
had to go back and count out like it's a daily. And so I had to go count out the number
Oh, that were left in the
that
bottle.
were left in the bottle and subtract it. And so guess what?
You went on
Guess
Amazon and you ordered a pill
Bet
pack.
your sweet ass I did. I'm like, all right, let's order the readers. Actually, I haven't ordered readers. I've had perfect eyesight my whole life. And
Okay.
the other day, it took me a second. I moved something back to read it, and I was like,
Oh no.
oh my God, what
Okay,
am I
wait.
gonna do?
When you're in a sort of less illuminated restaurant, do you ever use your phone to read the menu?
No, Kelly, I don't.
You're
I'm
you're dipping
guessing.
your toe into this club. You're not fully there, but you are definitely like peeking over the fence, Christy. But if you are getting readers, can I just say, as a public service, the website, there's a brand called Peepers.
Peepers.
Peepers. Peepers. Wonderful, fun, funky glasses that you can get just in blue light. You can get them with no prescription, or you can get them reader, like a +5 or a +1, like not every increment of sight, but beautiful. And so
Okay.
when COVID
Peepers.
hit and we were spending 100% of our time in front of a computer screen, my kids were the ones who were wearing blue light glasses. I was the one making fun of them. And then I was like, actually, can I wear those for the day and let me see? And I really noticed a difference in how tired and dry my eyes were. So anyways, I went on Peepers and I ordered probably 8 pairs, and they were so
I'm
fun.
gonna do that because I get really tired eyes when I have to sit in front of the computer all day long,
All day.
and which I do quite a bit. But I need to get those. Okay, peepers.com. I'm gonna get some
Peepers.com.
readers, but I'm gonna look super chic in them. They're gonna be trendy and fun.
Yeah. Well, who's that? Ina. What was the 90-plus-year-old lady? She was a model for like in an
Betty White?
unconventional way, because she was famous for having the huge glasses and the big chunky jewelry. I think she just died.
Okay, that's depressing. We're gonna move on from that. Thanks, Kelly. We're talking about aging. We don't need to talk about it.
Oh, that's just way at the end that plot twist we knew was coming. We're talking about different plot twists.
Very different plot twist. Anyways, going back to
Okay.
brain fog, because then I want to talk
Brain
about
fog.
like the things that you didn't know were going to happen. So I have 6 sisters, right? So, and I'm the middle, and I get calls all the time about like, hey, this happened to me today. What do you think it is? But the brain fog is really hard for me because I have the memory of an elephant, especially because I am raising children and got a business and all of those things that I cannot for the life of me. I'm like, shit, did I do that or not? And everyone's like, build lists. I'm like, you know how many lists I would have to build to make sure that like I checked all of the boxes that need to be checked every single day?
And then I'm a Virgo, so I would have a deep desire and need to check all the boxes. I'd have to go find the lists and check the lists and
Yeah,
rip the
no.
list up. Yeah, it's too much work.
I just can't with all of that. Again,
I do
though, I
think
can remember I can remember any song from the 90s or the 80s. I can remember all the lyrics. I can remember my 2nd grade boyfriends, but I can't remember, did you take your medicine this morning?
on the list of priorities, one of them is a better story than the other. Look how much fun we had talking about Steve. We don't have lots of fun talking about your pill packet.
Speaking of packets, you know, when you get into the hormone stuff, like I swear,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm just like rose-colored glasses to my past, but my emotional volatility due to hormonal changes at 46 is worse than a teenage girl.
Well,
Like I feel like I'm like, and I see it happening, and I'm like, this is hormones. And then, you know, there's the whole like shame and embarrassment around it, which I'm like, I'm not doing that shit anymore. Like, I'm a woman. I can do a lot of things men can't, whatever. So, and men have hormones too, by the way. Y'all fluctuate your hormones. It's a thing. You guys have a cycle as well. They do. Did you know that?
oh, I do. That menopause cycle is also real. There's
Yeah.
a bit of a,
Yeah. But I went to my doctor because I was like, I think that I need more hormones. My hormones checked.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I could, you know what she said to me?
I am bated breath waiting for this dumb fuckery. Yeah.
She said, I can promise you that they're out of whack. And I
Okay.
said, cool. What do we do about them? And she's like, well, we can't really do anything here, but there's these other places that do packets and things, but it's not covered by insurance. And I'm like,
Wait, so your general practitioner
no,
said
my gynecologist.
your gynae, that's even worse.
I
Your
know, but she's like,
specialist said that she could not help you with your hormone regulation.
she said that she can recommend me to places, but none of it's covered by insurance. What sort of absolute fucking bullshit is it that hormone replacement therapy is not covered by insurance?
Well, first off, we would have to recognize and then openly acknowledge that menopause and that change in your life is real and it's not all in your head, or that it should deserve to be treated and not just part of natural life, and you should just deal with it and then get through it.
Yeah. And now all the medications to combat symptoms like anxiety and whatever else, you know, the mental health part of it, it's like, okay, here, we'll put you on a bunch of drugs to like make you feel a little bit better. But why don't we just fix the problem, which is hormone imbalance?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, you would spend a lot of time doing that for your teenage daughter, like the you there being the health system would be like, she's in this prime of her life and we got to get these things sorted, try a birth control pill to make your periods lighter, whatever, stuff like that. Once you're in this phase of life, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with you. So you just off you pop. So I realize not everybody can pay for those types of platforms. But I will say, I just paid to have a comprehensive metabolic panel done. And I've been taking hormones for 1 year, thanks to a wonderful friend, Julie, who reminded me it changed her life as it relates to hot flashes, not sleeping at night, anxiety, and brain fog.
God.
What was that last one?
Hold on. Yeah, it's there. 1 second.
I can feel myself short-circuiting. The list is too long. I'm going to forget one. Anyways, so even though I am taking hormones and I realize then I'm not really on a baseline of normal, I'm already supplemented, but I do want to know, it's been a year, is this close? So I paid on a platform called Joy Wellness, but Joy spelled Joie. Anyways, I paid for this metabolic panel, which is great. I'm a lab tech by nature and training. And so I know the results when they come back in and I'm looking at what's in the normal range and what's out of range. But interestingly, part of the report they give you is not just about normal, because that's a reference range based on however many people they've drawn blood out of in our age range. And instead, they talk about optimal. So you can have a estradiol number within a normal range. So you say, oh, your estrogen's in the normal range, Christy. For 46-year-old women, it's between 5 and 35. I'm spitballing numbers. You'd be really impressed if that was accurate. But they would say,
Looking it up. I'm checking you.
but they would be like, yeah, you're in the normal range. But one, what is Christy's normal? And whatever phase of life Christy's in might be different than a person who is also the same age, but like me, didn't get my period till I was 16. So what is normal? So part of this deal was also a conversation with a nurse practitioner to talk about the interpretation of your results based on where you are and what things you are battling. So I still have a little bit of trouble with waking up in the middle of the night, which I think might actually be more cortisol than it is hormonal. Well, cortisol is hormone. And then the brain fog not being perfect, but I really like to get the sleep and that kind of thing nailed down. And so we talked about what level should your progesterone be at? What level should your cortisol be at? Where is it was interesting. She talked about like naturopathic approaches to testosterone, because that was the one I wanted to talk to her about, was testosterone, which is, we have it, ladies, just a very little bit. And it gives you the youthful energy to get shit done. Not to mention,
And your sex drive.
bing, bang, and your bones. I was going to say,
Oh,
bones
when you
and
said to get shit done,
but
you
went
were
to
talking about sex drive? No, I'm just kidding.
I was talking bones and muscles, but you went to sex, and I love you for it. Anyways,
It's important.
Totally important. She was giving me natural things like ashwagandha that you could take, and fenugreek, which I know I heard a lot about when I was nursing, but nursing as in boobs, nursing your children. Anyways, it was
I don't know what else that would mean, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Nursing
Sorry.
as in the profession.
Listen.
Anyways, it was really interesting to do. And then if you can afford to pay for that, to have that knowledge, because guess what? You're not going to get it in your normal healthcare practitioner's practice. And it's terrible that they can't do that for you.
It's bullshit. So as you say, if you can afford to pay for it, right? So it's just such a, I mean, not to get on a soapbox, but like, what a damn shame. What a damn shame that once that our medical insurance, and it doesn't cover a lot of things with women in general, like when it's specific to women's health, not a lot of things are covered that should be. But specifically, like when you get in a certain age range, it's like, hey, suck it up and deal with it, sis. And it's
part
like,
of life, it's normal. Let it go.
It's like, oh, but if you have money, it's cool. Otherwise, you get to feel like shit for 15 years. Sorry about that. Sorry. That's not funny.
No.
It just pisses me off.
You can make the soapbox bigger because everybody needs to jump on it. I have the good fortune of having worked with Cindy Eckert, who runs Addie, the drug, and also the Pink Ceiling, which is an investment company that only invests in female-led and for female startups. And a lot of it is health-related. Because Cindy, spends a lot of her time talking about this inequity in women's medicine, period. in clinical trial presence, in even getting drugs that are approved. She will talk about the story of a woman who wanted the libido drug Addie for her low libido, and her doctor wrote in the chart she was not allowed to be prescribed the medicine, which is on label, until she failed marriage counseling.
My goodness.
First off,
I wanted to use a different word other than goodness, but
can you even imagine if a man went into the physician for erectile dysfunction and they told him he first had to fail marriage counseling before he could get Viagra?
and also if you fail marriage counseling, doesn't that mean you're
What do I
getting a
need the
divorce?
libido drug for? What do I need this libido drug for? I
And how
mean, give me a
does one
break.
fail counseling? I don't understand.
I think you fail it when you get divorced. Like, I think that's actually a fail. That's an F. I don't know. I think if a C plus is when you fake like each other. I have no idea. But that is how horrible. Anyways, even when there are products available, the point is they are not made readily available. And for women, there are additional biases and hurdles to get over in the first place around whether or not it's something should even be treated.
Yeah, it's some fuckery. Just gonna go
It's
with that. It's some serious
infuriating.
fuckery, and it really needs to change. Actually, I was really shocked when I don't know where I came across this, but a lot of our legacy drugs have never been tested on women. It wasn't until 1994 that the FDA required females be included in pharmaceutical studies because the variants of the hormonal variants would change the results so much.
Yeah.
So like
You kind of get
that is scary to me. Like I'm like,
you from a scientific perspective, you understand it, right? You're like, okay, how much could you in your regular day? Am I pissed off, or is this hormones, right? You're kind of like, oh no, I'm really actually pissed off, or oh no, I get my period tomorrow. Duh, that's why, right? So you think about the impact in a clinical trial that you try to keep just completely perfectly clean. I understand. Then run an entire trial of just women so we can double check that there might be a variability between the men's results and the women's results on a chart, what the number is. But I best damn well see that curve look exactly the same before you give it to me as a woman.
yeah. I mean, listen, I'm fine with that. Like we don't have to do men and women together, right? We're biologically very different. And so but like run the test.
Yeah.
Just
Make an
like
arm of the trial be women
and
only.
also I'm going to say this too. Men have hormones too. Okay? And they affect them. I mean, I've seen it. Like I'm like okay, the hormones are off today. And it's like we treat hormones like they're this like handicap or there's this thing, not a handicap, that's the wrong word. We treat hormones like they are outside of a human sphere, right? They're
Mhm.
these little things that come in and they mess everything up or whatever, but like
Like
your
a virus.
hormones, like a virus, like, but your
Yeah.
hormones are part of who you are.
Right.
And I mean, yes, does your irritability change? Sure. Am I more likely to cry? Absolutely. But it's like, if that's actually what happens every single month, why can't that be normalized in some way versus like you have to, like it's like when people say you're hormonal, it's always derogatory.
Derogatory. Yeah, for sure.
And I hate that.
Well, yeah, because at that point in time, actually, yeah, I probably am. It's biological. I'm going to go back to something you said before about just the mood shifts in right now where you are. And in that, back to Mary Claire Haver, I do love a good quality control chart that shows you a visual. She has a visual, and if I can grab it, I'll post it here on the screen of the pattern of your hormones when you are like a young adult and then when you are perimenopausal. And so, of your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, we'll leave cortisol out of it. Your sex hormones are on a regular, like a heartbeat, right? Like they
Yeah.
each have their own wave, and then they consistently behave in that way each month. And then you get into perimenopause, and it's fucking It is a Jackson Pollock. It is spaghetti.
I love Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, just not in my feelings.
Just
So
in my feeling.
imagine if you're trying to hit a moving target with find me the magical cocktail that I can manage how I'm feeling. Well, your thing is not on a nice hockey stick curve. It's like a Christmas lights ball at the end of the season where you're like, fuck, I never untangle this thing. That's where you're at right now. So imagine inside of you is a giant colorful ball of Christmas lights in a tangle.
That's so exciting. This is terrible, but maybe it's not terrible. I have not done the research I need to do on this is a shortage
I'm
time.
gonna
So I need to start educating myself better about what's happening with me, right? And understanding where I'm at, because I haven't done a hormone panel. I haven't done anything other than, hey, I can't have a 16-day cycle, and
Yeah,
please, I don't want to pee myself anymore. Like, that's just
yeah,
awkward. Just awkward.
yeah.
So I need to go, but I know there's a few sources for this type of information. Um, so I just have to find one that works for me, but it's definitely one of my New Year's resolutions. It's what, end of May now? So I'm right on top of that, Rose.
This is her
But
second half resolution.
no. I do. I need to understand it better, right?
Well, and yours are going to change, right? One, you have a hormone, you have a surgery, though I understand that your hormone making buttons are still there. There's going to be an impact to it, and you're coming into, a phase of your life where it is definitely going to change. I'm going to give some advice to the 10-15 minutes ago Christy, who was reminding us all how very good you are at researching conditions for which you may need treatment, and researching the physicians and their reputation, and then going from there and putting all trust in their decisions. Just take that same approach to your condition you are about to enter for the rest of your damn life. And here's the good news. There is a glut of information currently, though it may not all be telling you the same thing. The good news is it is being talked about in a big way, bigger than before. Not big enough, bigger than before. So it is not at the Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness level yet, but you can see what can happen when the right kind of media and marketers get behind it. So there's some really strong, powerful voices. Oprah, Michelle Obama.
MIDI does a really good job of
MIDI is a
as a
platform that does
platform.
a good job. Yeah. This Joy Wellness that I did does well. Naomi Watts is talking about it. Like, they're just openly, Halle Berry, this is it. Fuck this. We're going to figure this out.
Let's talk about it. Let's actually treat women as they age versus, you get treated to have babies and then everyone's like, okay, cool, you're done having babies. Bye-bye. But, we live way longer than men. So, like, let's figure this out, and make it a medical necessity, not something nice to have if you, have money.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, I'm going to ask you for this.
Yeah.
All of the resources that you just listed, I'm going to need you to
Mhm.
send me or put them in the podcast somewhere, because I'm writing them down right now, which usually means that they will end up in my brain, but who knows with brain
Okay.
fog anymore. I never reference my notes. I write to keep myself paying
To
attention
remember
to
them.
the right things, and it, like, something about writing things down, like, ingrains it in my brain, or it used to. I don't even know anymore. Now it's just like
I
it's
am
like
exactly
toss
the
a
same.
coin, see if it sticks. I mean, like, it's like some things stick, some things don't. I can't even tell you how to, like.
I can guarantee I will remember to do this, because when I edit the podcast, I listen to the whole thing and I'll be like, oh yeah, write these down. But I can definitely, and I am by no means an expert, but what I am is vocal and unashamed. If something, and this is true whether I'm talking about reading glasses or a pair of socks, if I have a good experience with something, why would I not share it with everybody? I'm not gatekeeping some secret. That's awesome. Everybody should know this. Here's my other here's my other tip for me. This may not be for Christy because you've gone down a bladder sling route. Pre-operatively, the thing that I did that changed my life probably 8 years ago for that problem, incontinence, was a pelvic floor physiotherapist. We talked about this.
I did do
You
the
did it.
therapy before. This was
Good.
not this was not a first
This
line
is not your
treatment.
first pass.
No,
You're like, how can I
no.
do, what can I
I
do?
went to Yeah, I went to many. I have a we don't have to get into it, but I went I did absolutely 100%. I didn't jump straight to surgery.
And obviously, you may have had different birth situations than me, because the pelvic floor physiotherapy that I did was enough, thank goodness. But it was like stuff nobody told you about that you ironically should have been doing, the day after you pushed a human out of yourself, and probably all the days beforehand. So again, probably not covered by most people's benefits. It wasn't covered by mine. But if you have the means to do pelvic floor physiotherapy, do it. And also, don't be squeamish, because they're going to get right up in your business.
Yes, they do.
Right? They're like, oh, there's your ovaries.
You're like, hold on. I'm used to like normal physical therapy, and they're like, okay, do this, and they're like, hold please. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know you that well.
They're snapping the glove on. You're like, what do you mean? Take my underwear off. What's happening?
Wait, what are we doing? Okay. So, in summary for this was like, I feel like we're serious than we've ever been.
We're serious. This is a serious topic. Well, no, it isn't. It is, but we should make it fun, and then people will talk about it.
It's like everything else with life. You have to be able to laugh at it, right? Like, I, especially with the incontinence piece. So I'm like you. If something works for me, I'm not really. I mean, I just shared a whole lot about my like, right. I am no longer. I used to be. I'm no longer ashamed of the things that happen with my body, especially the things that are caused by giving life.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And so I think we have to, again, normalize it, but it's just like everything else. You got to be able to laugh at it. You got to be able to, like, oh my gosh, I peed myself again. It's not, but just having the levity that this is not, it's serious, but it doesn't have to be dire, right? It doesn't have to be quiet. It's like, oh, well, who's going to talk? I mean, how dare you talk about like,
your lady bit.
peeing yourself a little bit. You did push like a ginormous little boy out of your vagina. Like, oh, that messed you up. Oh my gosh.
Oh
And
my
it's like, oh,
gosh.
well, what's wrong with you? It's like, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, that's a little bit like if a truck ran over your leg and then your leg didn't work exactly 100% for the rest of your life, and saying, what's wrong with you? It's not like a truck ran over your leg. It fucking did. It ran out of.
It absolutely did. But it's a perfect example. That's not something people would be ashamed of. They'd talk about it. But it's like, yeah, you know what? My second birth with my son was absolutely fucking horrible. You could make a horror film about it, and it left me a bit different.
Yeah. I'm a little different now.
Yeah, and whatever. Okay, so we gotta wrap.
I'll put another spin on. I'll put on another spin. I totally agree with you. Normalize it. Make laugh, because the only other option is crying. And then let's also maybe get into a headspace where we're grateful because we're old enough and have lived long enough to get to the phase where this is happening to us, because not everybody does. So there's that too. Be grateful when shit's going south.
Damn it.
I'm so grateful for this. I can't remember what I walked into this room for, but I do know I'm grateful.
Kelly, I get most of my steps in running back and forth between rooms because I literally will go in there and I'm like, what the fuck did I come in here for? Was it kid? Was it work? Was it like, what was it? So I get a lot of steps in that way. Just running around my house like a chicken with my head cut off, having no idea. I'm like, I'll be in a room and I'm like, what was I? Why? How did I get in here? Why am I here?
Well, I guess, and then the other good news is I don't think every older woman has dementia, so we don't have to worry all the time that that's what it is, because every woman is doing this thing the same way. There's enough.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to get there. I mean, these were some plot twists we didn't anticipate, but most plots have the hero's journey and there's a dip down and then the best thing ever happens. So there you go. We're closer to that.
Well, hey, you know what? In life, it's ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And I always tell when people are going through stuff, and maybe this is not the right advice to give, or when they're really happy, it's like, hey, you're really sad about something? Just wait. It'll get better.
It'll get better. Exactly.
Something's really great. Just wait. Life's going to suck again.
Enjoy it.
I don't usually bring that up to people that are on a high, but when you're on a low, I'm like,
ooh, you're on a high.
Let me Debbie down you really quick.
Let me be Debbie Downer real quick. And this is why we're all vertically unstable, man.
Yes. This is the definition of vertically unstable.
Exactly. It's like standing on the top of a building in a boat, a sailboat with big sails. I don't know. Those ones are always like this. I'm watching that guy who's sailing from, like, I'm not great at geography, somewhere in the U.S. that you can sail to Hawaii. The fuck? Anyways.
Okay. On that note, I feel like we've turned a corner. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, yeah, happy long weekend. Have fun. Okay, got better. That was the Valley. I see the soccer trip, and then we peaked.
No. I love the soccer tournaments. I'm rare. If I could watch my kids play sports every minute of every day, I probably would. I know. I mean, I don't really like all the packing again because I can't
That's a lot of
remember.
snacks. Yeah.
Well, it's uniforms and like, you know,
And laundry. You just wait till Colton gets a little older and riper, and you'll be like, maybe don't play soccer. Your feet stink.
Presley's already do. I'm like, oh my God, when I open her soccer bag. But I put dryer sheets in these bags. So, like, in between washings of the shoes, because everything goes back into the soccer bag. Like, once it's like when we wash uniforms, they go the white one, which, by the way, I don't know what genius put white shorts on a bunch of 10 and 12-year-old little girls, because that makes a whole lot of sense. You know, a man designed that uniform. But the white
a pressure
one.
washer will help. Pressure washer will get those stains out. But anyways, go on.
But I'm just saying on the field, like, oh my gosh. Like,
Also for girls.
For girls. There it is. Kelly, I know.
I was thinking grass. You were thinking.
No. I was thinking periods.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, great.
You were
You're going to
still
have
on
scarred a little girl, like, you know, because we still, anyways. But no, all their stuff goes, each individual uniform has its own little Ziploc bag. And it goes out of the wash, straight back into a bag, into the bag.
I don't miss those days.
Yeah, I hate laundry. I hate laundry and packing and unpacking. Okay, cool. Well, hey, great holiday weekend.
Awesome
Much love.
holiday weekend.
Subscribe, share.
Yes.
Do all the things.
Do all the things. All right.
All right,
See
bye,
you
Kelly.
next week. Bye.
Bye.